So we are reading from the second volume of Krishna book, Liberation of King Jarasandha, and in chapter 17. I'll read one small paragraph that we read yesterday to bring up to the speed, and then we will continue. Lord Krishna told King Yudhishthira that he becomes conquered by the love of one who has conquered his senses. Otherwise, it's not possible. Maya Devi will keep a tight grasp on us. One who has not conquered his senses cannot conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the secret of devotional service. To conquer the senses means to engage them constantly in the service of the Lord. The specific qualification of all the Pandava brothers was that they always engaged their senses in the service of the Lord. One who thus engages his senses becomes purified, and with purified senses, one can actually render service to Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord can thus be conquered by the devotee by loving transcendental service. A wonderful message that we read at the end. Lord Krishna continued, there is no one in the three worlds of the universe, including the powerful demigods, who can surpass my devotees in any of the six opulences, namely wealth, strength, reputation, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Therefore, if you want to conquer the worldly kings, there is no possibility of their emerging victorious. So when Lord Krishna thus encouraged King Yudhishthira, the king's face brightened like a blossoming flower because of transcendental happiness. And thus he ordered his younger brothers to conquer all the worldly kings in all directions. Lord Krishna empowered the Pandavas to execute his great mission of chastising the infidel miscreant of the world and giving protection to his faithful devotees. In his Vishnu form, the Lord therefore carries four kinds of weapons in his four hands. He carries a lotus flower and a conch shell in two hands. And in the other two hands, he carries club and a disc. The club and disc are meant for non-devotees. But because the Lord is the Supreme Absolute, the resultant actions of all his weapons is one and the same. With the club and the disc, he chastised the miscreant so that they may come to their senses and know that they are not all in all. Over them there is a Supreme Lord. And by bugling with the conch shell and by offering blessings with the lotus flowers, he always assured the devotees that no one can vanquish them, even in the greatest calamity. King Yudhishthira, being thus assured by the indication of the Lord Krishna, ordered his youngest brother Sahadeva, accompanied by soldiers of the Shunjaya tribe, to conquer the southern countries. Similarly, he ordered Nakul, accompanied by the soldiers of the Matsya Desh, to conquer the king of the western side. He sent Arjuna, accompanied by the soldiers of Kekai Desh, to conquer the king of the northern side. And Bhimsen, accompanied by the soldiers of the Madras, was ordered to conquer the king on the eastern side, south, west, north, and east. Easy to remember. It may be noted that by dispatching his younger brothers to conquer in different directions, King Yudhishthira did not actually intend that they declare war with the kings. Actually, the brothers started for different directions to inform the respective king about King Yudhishthira's intentions to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice. The kings were thus informed that they were required to pay taxes for the executions of the sacrifice. This payment of taxes to Emperor Yudhishthira meant that the king accepted his subjugation before him. In case of a king's refusal to act accordingly, there was certainly a fight. Thus, by their influence and strength, the brothers conquered all the kings in different directions, and they were able to bring in sufficient tax and presentations. These were brought before King Yudhishthira by his brothers. So King Yudhishthira was very anxious. However, when he heard the king Jarasandha of Magda did not accept his sovereignty, seeing King Yudhishthira's anxiety, Lord Krishna informed him of the plan explained by Uddhava for conquering King Jarasandha. Bhimsena, Arjun, and Lord Krishna then started together for Girivraj, the capital city of Jarasandha. Wonderful name, huh? Girivraj. Dressing themselves in the garb of a Brahmanas. This was the plan devised by Uddhava before Lord Krishna started for Hastinapur, and now it was given practical application. King Jarasandha was a very dutiful householder, and he had great respect for the Brahmanas. He was a great fighter, a Kshatriya king, but he was never neglectful of the Vedic injunctions. According to Vedic injunctions, the Brahmanas are considered to be the spiritual master of all other castes. Lord Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhimsena were actually Kshatriyas, but they dressed themselves as Brahmana. And at the time when King Jarasandha was to give charity to Brahmanas and receive them as guests, they approached him. Lord Krishna, in the dress of Brahmana, said to the king as follows: "We wish all glories to your majesty. We are 3 guests at your royal palace, and we are coming from a great distance. We have come to ask you for charity, and we hope that you will kindly bestow upon us whatever we ask from you. We know about your good qualities. A person who is tolerant is always prepared to tolerate everything, even though distressful. Just as a criminal can perform the most abominable acts, so a greatly charitable person like you can give anything and everything he is asked for. For a great personality like you, there is no distinction between relatives and outsiders. A famous man lives forever, even after his death." Krishna is so smart. Huh? Therefore, any person who is completely fit and able to execute act which will perpetuate his good name and fame, and yet does not do so, become abominable in the eyes of a great person. Such a person cannot be condemned enough. and his refusal to give charity is lamentable throughout his whole life. Your Majesty must have heard the glorious names of charitable personalities such as Harishchandra, Rantidev, and Mugala, who used to live only on grains picked up from the paddy floor, and the great Maharaj Sibi, who saved the life of a pigeon by supplying flesh from his own body. These great personalities have attained immortal fame simply by sacrificing this temporary and imperishable body. Unquote. Lord Krishna, in the garb of a Brahmana, thus informed Jarasandha that fame is imperishable, but the body is perishable. If one can attain imperishable name and fame by sacrificing his perishable body, he becomes a very respectable figure in the history of human civilization. What a wonderful message. While Lord Krishna was speaking in the garb of a Brahmana, along with Arjuna and Bhim, Jarasandha marked that the three of them did not appear to be actual Brahmanas. There were signs on their bodies by which Jarasandha could understand that they were Kshatriyas. Their soldiers were marked with an impression due to carrying bows. They had beautiful bodily structure, and their voices was grave and commanding. Thus, he definitely concluded that they were not the real Brahmanas, but Kshatriyas. He was also thinking that he had seen them somewhere before. Although these three persons were Kshatriyas, they had come to his door begging alms like Brahmanas. Therefore, he decided that he would fulfill their desires in spite of their being Kshatriyas. He thought in this way because their position has already been diminished by their appearing before him as a beggars. Quote, under the circumstances, unquote, he thought. Again, quote, I'm prepared to give them anything, even if they ask for my body. I shall not hesitate to offer it to them, unquote. In this regard, he began to think of Bali Maharaj. Lord Vishnu, in the dress of a Brahmana, appeared as a beggar before Bali. And in that way, he snatched away all of his opulence and the kingdom. He did this for the benefit of Indra, who, having been defeated by Bali Maharaj, was bereft of his kingdom. Although Bali Maharaj was cheated, his reputation as a great devotee who was able to give anything and everything in charity is still glorified throughout the three worlds. Bali Maharaj could guess that the Brahmana was Lord Vishnu himself, and that he had come to him just to take away his opulent kingdom on behalf of Indra. Bali's spiritual master and family priest Shukracharya repeatedly warned him about this. What a nice thought come to the demon that can change their thought process. And yet Bali did not hesitate to give in charity whatever the Brahmana wanted. And at last, he gave up everything to that Brahmana. Quote, it is my strong determination, unquote, thought Jarasandha. Quote again, that if I can achieve immortal reputation by sacrificing this perishable body, I must act for that purpose. The life of a Kshatriya who does not live for the benefit of the Brahmana is certainly condemned. Unquote. What a wonderful realization. Huh? Actually, King Jarasandha was very liberal in giving charity to the Brahmanas. And thus, he informed Lord Krishna, Bhima and Arjuna as follows. Quote, my dear Brahmanas, you can ask from me whatever you like. And if you so desire, you can take my head also. I'm prepared to give it. Unquote. Haribol. After this, Lord Krishna addressed Jarasandha as follows. Quote, my dear king. Oh, it's 6:56, so let's see. Whatever the Krishna is going to say, we will keep it as a nice point to read tomorrow. We will continue that tomorrow. 6:56, we should be punctual in our service. And I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who take austerity every morning to join from Houston, from Fresno, New Hampshire, Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Sanford, Jacksonville, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, Toronto, Calcutta, Pondicherry, and Pickering near Toronto. Vanchikalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you very much for all the wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Let's chant for an hour. As norm, I will chant until 7:30, and I will continue chanting unless someone, which I sincerely desire, that they should unmute and chant one by one. So until somebody unmute and chant, I will continue chanting so we can have